Suppose all the adults surveyed happened to attend one movie each in one particular week. The total amount spent on tickets by those surveyed in that week was 44,000. How many adults attended matinees that week? So very often when you are given data like this and it seems challenging to figure out how you're going to solve this, you're usually going to require two lines. We call this an intersection question. And so we want to figure out what those two lines are. And you will see this is done on 100% or nearly 100% of ACTs. You might think you're not going to recognize that you need two lines on this to be able to solve it, two equations on this to be able to solve it. But your brain, that's what we're working on, is training you to recognize patterns. And the more you see these types of questions, the more you're just going to be like, oh, and hopefully you will drill it now and become more familiar with what the structure of these questions look like. But we know two data points. So we're just going to say X is our regular ticket numbers and Y is going to be our matinee ticket numbers. And so we know that X plus Y is going to equal 5,000 since it told us that everybody in the survey saw at least one movie that week. And then we know that 9.5x for $9.50 for the regular movie, and 7y is going to equal $44,000. So we don't know how many did regular or how many did matinee, but we know that the total of those tickets is 5,000. And then we know the total of those individual tickets times their representative amounts is going to equal 44,000. And this is where our two lines come from. And now that we have two lines, we can solve this equation multiple ways. We can either get one of the lines in terms of one of the variables and substitute that in to solve in the other equation, or we could multiply one of these lines to be able to cancel out one of the variables in the other equation. So for simplicity's sake, we're just going to multiply this by -7. -7, which is going to allow us to cancel out our y's, okay? So if we multiply this by -7, we get -7x minus 7y is equal to 5,000 times -7, which is going to be -$35,000. All right. So our y's are going to cancel out here. We're left with 2.5x is equal to 44,000 minus 35,000, which is equal to 9,000. And now all we need to do is get X by itself to find out how many regular tickets they sold. So we can divide both sides by 2.5 and get that 9,000 divided by 2.5 is equal to 3,600 tickets that were regular. And so we can now plug this back into either of our equations. The easier one to plug it into is the original, X plus Y is equal to 5,000. So if 3,600 of the 5,000 tickets were regular, we know that 1,400 of those tickets attended matinee, which is answer G.